Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our regular City Council meeting on Monday, December 9th, 2024. Before we start, we will start with a land acknowledgement. The City of Daly City acknowledges that we are on the ancestral lands of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples. We recognize their enduring connection to this region and honor their history, culture, and contributions. As the indigenous protectors of this land, we affirm their sovereign rights as the original inhabitants of this land and pay respects to the ancestors, elders, and relatives of the Ramaytush Ohlone people. Thank you very much. To those that are wanting to have public participation, there are 3 ways to submit public comments. 1, submit written comments by the meeting day. 2, submit written comments during the meeting. And 3, attend the meeting in person. 1, to submit written comments by the meeting day, please email cityclerk@dalycity.org and include public comment in the subject line. All written comments received by 4 p.m. on the meeting day will be provided to the City Council prior to the meeting. Please note, any emailed comments received after 4 p.m. on the meeting date are not guaranteed to be received by the City Council prior to the meeting. Comments are not read aloud into the record. 2, during the meeting, you may visit www.dalycity.org/agendas to submit comments using the public comment form to address the City Council on a specific item or during the public comment period. And such comments are delivered to the City Council and city staff during the meeting and may be read into the record at the time they are received. 3, to speak at the meeting in person, please complete a speaker card located at the entrance of the council chamber and submit it to a staff member as early in the meeting as possible. Persons with disabilities who require auxiliary aids or services in attendance or participating in this meeting should call the office of the city clerk at 650-991-08078 as soon as possible. May we all rise for the pledge of the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and through the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we have roll call, please, Madam City Clerk?
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Present.
Dr. Rod,
Present.
Ms. Perano,
Present.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, present.
Ms. Manalo.
Present. Thank you very much. Moving on to the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of November 25th, 2024. I move to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Moving on to approval of the agenda. We have a motion to approve the agenda for the regular meeting of December 9, 2024.
So moved.
I have a first. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Moving on to oral comment for, let's see if we have general public comment today. Okay, seeing none, we are moving on to the approval. Oh, do you have general comment? Public comment? No? Okay. We are moving on to the approval of our consent agenda. Of a motion to approve consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Okay, do I have a second?
Glenn Sylvester, second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much. Moving on to item number 9, public hearing on community development and housing needs. And we have Ms. Linnell Suligwin. Please come up.
Hello. Oh, okay. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and council members. The item before you, the recommended actions is one, to conduct a public hearing to identify housing and community development priorities for the city's one-year HUD action plan for fiscal year 25-26, and two, authorize the issuance of a request for proposals for FY 25-26 community development block grant. So the city receives Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, and home funds annually from the Department of Housing and Urban Development. CDBG funds are primarily used to meet housing and community development needs that benefit low to moderate income residents. The funds may be used for program administration, housing, public services, capital improvements, and economic development. And home funds may be used for affordable housing development. We don't know yet how much funding we will receive in FY 25-26, but for reference, in FY 24-25, the city received $932,468 in CDBG funds and $284,032 in home funds. So these allocations are added to program income and unspent and unencumbered funds from prior years. So for example, in FY 24-25, with our CDBG allocation, our actual budget ended up being 1.2 million because of the unspent and program income. So as a requirement to receive these funds, the city prepared a 5-year HUD consolidated plan. So within each of the 5 years, we have to prepare a 1-year action plan. So FY 25-26 is the 3rd year of our the consolidated plan period. It being the 3rd year, it's also the 1st year of a 2-year CDBG funding cycle. So that means projects that are approved for funding in FY 25-26 have the opportunity to get their contracts renewed automatically for 26-27 if we get the funding from HUD and if they perform satisfactorily and meet their goals. So tonight is the first step for preparing the 25-26 action plan. I've already talked about it being a 2-year cycle. So we have 2 public hearings for that action plan process. The first hearing is tonight, and then there's another hearing in April. And so the purpose of tonight's hearing is to provide the public an opportunity to inform the Council of Housing and Community Development needs in our city. And the public hearing in April is to receive comments on the draft 25-26 action plan. Notice of this hearing was published in the Examiner and was made available on the city's website, as well as emailed to various social service organizations. And staff is available to provide additional information. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your presentation on this. Now, at this time, I will ask my colleagues if they have any questions or comments. First, with Vice Mayor.
I think it's pretty straightforward. I'm working again with colleagues and with the department. I'm looking at the priorities that are stated. Oops. In terms of increasing the supply of affordable housing, preserve housing affordability, and the list goes on. I think it's a plan that's necessary and also things to talk about. And I'm also willing to hear what the public has to say in terms of commenting on this report as well.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilman Giovanni.
Thank you. I concur with the Vice Mayor as well. I think that hearing from the public, because they are the ones that are on the ground as well, knowing what the needs are. And I know, Linnell, you did a great job because you are in touch with them as well, and know that there's a lot of needs and that we really need to focus. And I think that you have identified a lot of the priorities that are, I wish we had more money. We always do that to stretch it. And we don't know what's going to happen in the future of funding, but you always make sure that we try to reach out to the NGOs that really provide the care, and that you vet them And I appreciate that as well, to make sure that it goes where it's supposed to go. So thank you, and thank you to the Vice Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sylvester?
Thank you, Mayor. Linnell, words cannot explain the difficulty in doling out the CDBG funds for the community. Excuse me, CDBG stands for Community Development Block Grants. And there are changing times all the time. And when I first learned about CDBG funds, I was definitely, my eyes opened up, because it's not enough. And we have to figure out, well, based upon the past, all the nonprofits who apply to get funds, and I really feel that if there was a way that we can help all of them, we would, but we can't. But great job. Thank you for all the work you do and keeping us updated. And thank you to the committee who sits down and discusses the various organizations. I think it's very, very important. So hopefully we'll stay on track. When we bring it to the public meeting, I'm sure there'll be organizations identified, and they're identified for a reason. So great job. Thank you for the update and great report. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to
Councilmember
say-
Perano?
Thank you. I just wanted to say thank you for the presentation. And if you could, in a nutshell, give us the last 3 years process, do you feel like, I know obviously you could have done more projects, but do you have a highlight on a project that you did in the last 3 years? You said you're 3 years into a 5-year program. If you'd like to highlight one.
I'm trying to think. I just want to say that in addition to getting the funding, it's not an easy funding source to work with. As some of the subrecipients here can probably tell you, there's because there's a lot of eligibility requirements and verification of income, and it's a difficult funding source to work with. I guess one of the highlights would be just our partnership with the organizations that we fund and working together and providing technical assistance. Ann Cooney, who's also on staff, has been wonderful in providing technical support to the different organizations that we fund, such as Habitat for Humanity, Rebuilding Together, Project READ, Peninsula Family Services that provides childcare. I hope that answers your question.
It was perfect.
Okay.
And thank you for sharing that. Sometimes when you go into the technical stuff, it's nice to hear your highlights. So thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll reserve my comments until I hear from the public at this time.
Thank you.
If we may have Kate, motion to open public hearing, please.
So moved.
I have a first, I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Our first speaker is Kate Comfort Har with HIP Housing.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to give you a couple of highlights about housing. So HIP Housing is an affordable housing provider. We house we house over 1,200 people each year in a variety of programs and through properties that we own and operate, all affordable. The newest program that we have is called Housing Readiness Program, and it is for seniors to help them navigate the very complex dynamic that we have in San Mateo County and the very stressful dynamic around affordable housing. So the biggest change that we've seen in the last 3 years is the growth of seniors who are becoming instably housed. And in that growth, we've seen a pretty big increase here just in Daly City. But I wanted to highlight a couple of studies that came out in 2023. One is from the Harvard Joint Center for Housing Studies. It projects that households headed by adults 80 and older are going to double by 2040 to 17 million across the country. And in California in particular, researchers at UCSF estimate that among the single unhoused individuals in California age 50 and over, 41 have become homeless for the first time after age 50. So when you combine those two statistics, the fastest growing homeless population in the country are seniors, and that is very much reflected here in San Mateo County. And it's why we actually started our housing readiness program. We started in 2023, and in the course of that year, we've worked with over 2,000 people looking for housing. So I just wanted to share that when you talk about housing, the wave that's coming at us in seniors who are becoming unstably housed is dramatic. It's not going to be, it's already here. It's huge. And the reason they become unhoused, it is they're living on a fixed income, they've exhausted their savings, and they're being evicted for non-payment. So it's a legitimate eviction. You can't stop the eviction, but they have no place to go. So I have other information if you'd like it, but I'm happy to leave my bullet points with the clerk if that would be helpful.
Yes, please do. Thank you so much
Sure.
for your update on your programs.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Next up is Pam Dorr, Habitat for Humanity, Greater San Francisco.
I appreciate the opportunity to speak. Habitat's been serving in the Bay Area for 40 years, and we work in Marin. I know we're old. We work in Marin, San Mateo, and San Francisco counties. What I wanted to do is tell you we're a current recipient of CDBG for home repair and work with your staff. It's just been an incredible program to see it change. What I wanted to tell you about is that this week we're starting to repair the roof of a senior, and she would have been out in the weather without this help. And this would be a tough time of year for any senior to be facing this. And like Kate had shared, it's a really tough time as seniors age, and you're doing a wonderful job in Daly City by offering home repair for seniors. I just wanted to say thank you, and that this work really does make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Miguel Chavez with Life Moves Family Crossroads.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miguel. I'm the program director for Intermediate Housing Program here in Daly City, on top of the hill, and I represent Life Moves. So Life Moves is the largest provider for intermediate housing in the Bay Area, serving San Mateo and Santa Clara counties. We've been serving the needs of families and individuals experiencing homelessness since 1973. Our vision is to hopefully have thriving communities where every neighbor has a home. We operate 12 intermediate housing programs all throughout Daly City, all the way to San Mateo, to San Jose. In San Mateo County, we have 4 of our programs sites are dedicated to homeless families here in San Mateo County, with the capacity of serving over 300 families members each and every night. Family Crossroads, our intermediate housing program here in Daly City, serves 15 households, and we provide one-bedroom furnished units where families work on certain items like finding employment, saving for emergency funds, and hopefully get them back on their feet and into housing. So in this quarter, July to September, we served about 19 households, making up about 70 individuals. And last fiscal year, we served 31 local households, which served about 220 individuals. This funding supports the housing intensive case management and supportive services that it's provided to Daly City families. We hope to continue to provide basic needs, including food, clothing, shelter, and intensive case management, along with other on-site services that we provide. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If there are no other public comments, I have no other cards at this time. Motion to close public hearing.
So move.
Okay, second? All in
Second.
favor? Say
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to say thank you to the providers that have come here to speak on really the needs and what you've been seeing on the ground. I used to work for a nonprofit many years ago. It was really there where I learned that direct service is so important because you all see at the entry points through your case management, through your intakes, really what is happening in our communities. And so I want to say thank you to HIP Housing, to Habitat for Humanity, Life Moves, because we know you are all there seeing firsthand what our seniors, our families, families with children are seeing. I think my colleagues has said it all here. We really wish that through our federal funds, we get more so that we can help more of the families and individuals that we know are in need of your programs. But I want to thank staff, and being able to really work with all of you and hopefully, I get to work with Vice Mayor. We sit on the CDBG committee together, and it's always, we see the need, but we wish there were more federal dollars because the need is great. But I know it's so important to hear from each and every one of you, and I think for us as decision makers, it's important to hear that. So thank you for that input, which is crucial. And I know that this is the first step. We're going to have another hearing in April. So with that, thank you so much. And at this time, we will move with a recommendation for a resolution by roll call. And with that, Madam City Clerk, is there attorney to read by title only, or may we do this in one motion?
Madam Mayor, this is a resolution, so no title only is necessary, just a motion on the resolution for
Okay,
adoption.
happy to move
Make
this
a mo-
item number 9. Before I move it, Councilmember Sylvester, do you have a comment before I
Yes.
move into
Thank,
making a motion?
thank you, Mayor. I'd like to echo the words you made mention earlier, and especially to the presenters that has presented and given a statement tonight. I want to give my take on what I know of the organizations. I do know about HIP, and I do know about Habitat for Humanity. First, let's start off with HIP. HIP not only looks for housing for those in need of housing, but they also will match you up with those who have a home and could be by themselves. And that addresses the loneliness issue. And it also provides some sort of caretakers to watch over the homeowner. And I think it's a unique program. And I like to congratulate HIP for the work that they do, and especially in the area of seniors. I am very cognizant that there are seniors out there who may even own a home, but they live on such a limited income. You've heard the term house rich, but cash poor. And so renting out or providing housing is a win-win situation. I was going to ask Linnell to verify, but it came out through Habitat for Humanity. And another important part of CDBG is the rehabilitation loans under the Housing and Urban Development Program under I think it's 203K. For some reason, another number is sticking in my head, 208. And that's for rehabilitation, especially through Habitat for Humanity because you had made mention that there are homes and we're starting to help our seniors to rehabilitate them, whether to fix the stairs, whether to apply it to a roof. You know how expensive a roof can be. And finally, I don't know much about Life Moves, but I've heard of Life Moves. So all of this is great news. So just my comments. I hope we can get funding for your various programs, and thank you for what you all continue to do. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, council member. And with that,
Through the chair, just one comment.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I know that when she said, I knew not just because I'm a senior, but I knew when the wave, the second largest aging population is in this county. I want people to realize how big it is and how where I live in the apartments, I see elders in line and they have back-ended, even though there's only a 10% limit. I believe I was speaking with the Vice Mayor earlier. There's a 10% limit on increasing the rent. But like everybody was saying, they're a limited income, but they're back-ending it now. And I noticed they're increasing the utilities in these apartments. I'm not exaggerating. They're from $250 to $350 per month now, which is way more than a house owner is paying, which is an increase, but yet their limit's not. And they are really nervous. And of course, you know, we also have our Faith in Action, but I know Habitat for Humanity and Life Moves and HIP Housing, I know that bringing it to our attention that having anyone homeless, much less a senior, I have seen them crying and trying to figure out how to pay their rent because for a lot of them, their family has already passed on. And when you hear their stories, and even if they are here and they, you know, they haven't spoken to anyone, they haven't really know much English, or, you know, I have my friend and he's speaking to them, and it's a huge problem. And us being and now we're the fourth richest county in the state. I know we're trying to do our part. But I think that speaking with Commission on Aging at the county and all that, you know, they always have that, and about the senior income and all these different commissions, that is a forefront that I think needs to be to address, because it's pretty shameful when you think that, bad enough anyone, but that being on the street. I've spoken to another of them that they message me and they're worried from day to day, living on the edge. And many have contributed great to our country and to wherever they came from, and they've lived rich lives. And I think that even with the mayor, where she worked for a nonprofit, has experienced a lot of them. And they're from our Filipino community, from Hispanic community, from all backgrounds. And they end up at this age thinking that they're going to be on the street. It's just unimaginable, but I'm glad you're addressing it. But we need to also come to the table and figure out how we can do more, because it's really not enough, as she was saying, at the housing, and that everyone needs to step up and realize this, our state legislators, and get that kind of support, because they want to tell us how to build X number of housing, but give us the help to keep the people that housed. You know, we don't want to push them on the street. So thank you, and thank you to the mayor. Thank you for allowing me to make the comment. Thank you, and thank you all.
Thank you very much. Any other comments from my colleagues? Seeing none? Thank you very much. As mentioned, I think hearing from you all directly is extremely important as we make decisions for this particular item. And I know that we will have another opportunity by April. And so with this, I motion to approve the public hearing on community development and housing needs. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. May we have roll call, please?
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Aye.
Dr. Rod,
Aye.
Ms. Perano,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Ms. Manalo.
Aye. Thank you very much. Thank you. Moving on to item number 10, proposed ordinance adding chapter 2.60, Women's Commission, and we have Ms. Leilani Ramos. and Miss Natalie Sakal. I see her.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. This evening, staff recommends that the City Council add Chapter 2.60 to the Daly City Municipal Code establishing a Women's Commission. Tonight, staff will provide background, discuss research conducted on models of women's commissions, review key elements of the framework of the ordinance, and review key dates and next steps. The City of Daly City has a demonstrated commitment to women's rights and full equality through its legislative actions and ongoing advocacy efforts. At the May 26, 2015 City Council meeting, staff recommended that the City Council adopt a resolution in support of adopting principles of the UN Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, also known as CEDAW. The city believed that adherence to the principles of CEDAW on the local level will promote equal access to and equity in healthcare, economic development, educational opportunities, and employment for women, as well as reducing incidents of violence against women and human trafficking. The City Council unanimously adopted Resolution Number 15-76 in support of the adherence to the principles of CEDAW for both the city's workforce and the Daly City community at large. The city has established a variety of programs and policies that support and implement the principles of CEDAW, including enforcing legal requirements against discrimination and encouraging recruitment and retention of female applicants for all public employment classifications. The City of Daly City's workforce is currently comprised of 37% females. Additionally, all full-time and part-time employees are mandated to complete the biannual anti-harassment training in compliance with AB 1825 and an annual workplace violence prevention training in compliance with Senate Bill 553 to maintain a harassment-free workplace. At the Budget Priority Study Sessions on March 25, 2023 and April 17, 2023, researching a Women's Commission was introduced as a priority for fiscal year 2024. Through the leadership and initiation of Mayor Jessamine Manalo on February 26, 2024, a request to set time and place as March 11, 2024 for a public hearing proposing to add Chapter 2.60 for a Women's Commission failed to receive a majority vote. On November 12, 2024, Mayor Manalo created an ad hoc committee and appointed Councilmember Teresa Perano to join her on the committee to resume the establishment of a Women's Commission. On December 2nd, 2024, the ad hoc committee met with city staff. The ad hoc committee acknowledged the continued efforts to empower and support the women in Daly City and discussed the importance of establishing a Women's Commission as an opportunity to further the city's commitment to women's rights and full equality. Furthermore, Mayor Manalo shared findings from a past women's conference hosted by the State of California's Commission on the Status of Women and Girls, which recommends women's commissions be established at the county and city levels to keep a better pulse on issues affecting jurisdictions locally. As Daly City's population is comprised of 50.2% females, establishing a Women's Commission will provide a platform for women's voices to be heard and is aligned with the city's commitment to achieving equity. A study was conducted to research models of women's commissions in the County of San Mateo. Currently, no cities in the County of San Mateo have a women's commission. The County of San Mateo has an established Commission on the Status of Women, or CSW, which first developed in 1984. The CSW identifies women's needs, advises the Board of Supervisors, and educates the community on matters concerning women through strategic partnerships and collaboration. The county's commission also honors the achievements of women through the Women's Hall of Fame, as well as hosts a women's leadership conference for and by women in San Mateo County every other year. While the intent of the commission is to organically allow women's issues to surface for discussion and propose action, the County of San Mateo CSW serves as an exemplary model. If established, potential projects and events for Daly City's Women's Commission may include development of a Women's Commission's webpage on the Daly City website that includes educational materials and resources, creation of a registry of women-owned businesses in Daly City, coordination of an annual Women's History Month celebration, establishment of a Daly City Women's Hall of Fame, opportunity to strengthen partnerships with organizations such as Alice and Cora, and participation in a biannual Women's Leadership Conference. Key elements of the proposed ordinance include 5 members, 1 nomination per council member for appointment by the City Council. The term would be a 4-year term that's staggered, and the meeting frequency would be the 4th Thursday of the month at 7 p.m. I would like to make note that the current draft of the ordinance that was attached lists the first Thursday, so that would need to be corrected for the second reading. Duties for the Women's Commission could include to serve as an advisory board to the City Council with the mission to improve the quality of life for women of all ages in Daly City by identifying women's needs, making informed policy and program recommendations to the City Council, and educating the community on matters concerning women. Also provide a platform for women's voices to be heard in Daly City, assess women's needs in Daly City and advocate women's concerns, especially those which impose special limitations or burdens upon them or limit opportunities available to women, foster programs that promote and celebrate women in the community. And the draft ordinance represents just a framework that will allow for growth and flexibility within the commission to discuss relevant topics as women's issues continue to evolve in our society. In terms of next steps, if approved this evening, the second reading and adoption of the ordinance will be scheduled for January 13, 2025. Upon adoption, the City Council may begin making appointments. Applications for appointed position are available on the city's website, and interested applications can begin submitting application for the Women's Commission for the Council's consideration. 1 nomination per council member may be made for appointment by the City Council. If appointments are made by the February 24, 2025 City Council meeting, the first Women's Commission meeting can potentially take place as early as February 27, 2025. And then the annual Women's History Month celebration will be scheduled in March 2025. Staff recommends that the City Council add Chapter 2.60 to the Daly City Municipal Code, establishing a Women's Commission, and we are available to provide additional information and answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Leilani, and also Natalie, for your work on this. I know that this is something that even in our last council meeting, my colleagues have echoed the importance of having a women's commission. I think that not only for having an opportunity for voices at the table, but there are so many issues that you have mentioned up on there in regards to issues that our women face in our community, such as intimate violence, abuse, ensuring that our women have access to economic opportunities, as well as hearing directly from them around what are the struggles women are facing during these current times. But then also looking at an opportunity to see this Women's Commission as also a springboard to ensure that we do gain more equity for young girls, and that the work that we do today impacts the future generation. And so first and foremost, I want to just thank the staff with this regard. I do want to start off that I did have some questions that I heard from my colleagues in regards to, and I think that was your question, Councilmember Sylvester, around what is the staff time that will be allocated to the Women's Commission. And I just want to get that up front and so that we can get that information because I know there was some questions at our last meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. As FLSA exempt city staff would support the commission and assume responsibilities for preparing meeting agendas, drafting monthly meeting minutes, and attending the monthly commission meetings, we estimate at least less than 5 hours per month would be dedicated from staff time, but no anticipated fiscal impact at this time. Any advisory items that would create a fiscal impact would be presented to the City Council for review and approval, and that is listed in the staff report, although not in the presentation.
Thank you for that. And then also wanted to say thank you to my colleague, Councilmember Proaño, when I appointed her onto the ad hoc committee that you accepted to review the work of our staff. And so I just wanted to say thank you for being on the committee. And it was really wonderful dialogue to where we are today. And so with that, I am going to ask my colleagues if they'd like to hear from the public or if you'd like some comments now. Okay. Go ahead.
I get it's so emotional. My heart's like, thank you. This is so important. And giving women somewhere to go that they can look for help if they need it, education help. My cousin, Connie Gonzalez, she was murdered by her spouse a few years ago. And I think this, this might have, something like this will help women because I think, sometimes they don't know who to turn to or who to ask. And, with Alice and Cora and you and this commission, that's something that I thought of. I said, wow, this is something that hopefully we as the City of Daly City can give this resource, right? Number one. Number two, as every decade, the older I get, right? When you're 20, you're a different person health-wise and than you are at 30 and 40 and 50, and you go to your doctor, and I remember going to my doctor saying, so what about this and this? And he kind of laughed, and it'd be nice to see that we have a resource for women, to turn to. So, violence, equity at work, health questions, rewarding women, recognizing women, because there are mothers, they are wives, they are partners, they are friends. And if we could help save a few lives, educate a few people, and give them this resource, I just want to say, like I said, it was such an honor when I was included. And I feel like this is something so important that we're just going to be able to build something and give something back to the community. Because if we're strong, women are strong, then we can do what we need to do in our world, and that's being good, being able to take care of ourselves, take care of our families and our friends. And so I think it really helps everybody, right? So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Proaño, and thank you for sharing, your family story, which is not always easy to do. And as you mentioned, we want safe spaces in our community, and really having the opportunity for women to have a place of their own, to have their agency to speak on issues that they themselves, and when we talk about self-determination, we talk about empowerment, this is where it's a start, but it's also long overdue. It's long overdue. And, we have to start somewhere. And so I agree that issues that do affect deep, close to home, we've seen too many deaths with intimate violence abuse. And I know that we can partner more closely with organizations that are in existence, but also have an arm in our city's government, where we empower and give agency to our community members. And so, thank you for that. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me to speak on this issue. First of all, I want to thank the committee for, putting the work in, discussing, and also the staff for putting in the research and understanding why a women's commission is important. One of my mentors is Dr. Allison Tintianco Cubales, and she coined the term Pinayism, which is a form of Filipino-American feminism. And one thing that I learned as a Pinoy, learning about Filipino feminism, is that growing up, I thought feminism was something that wasn't for men. Like, we are excluded. And, but by learning about Pinayism, but by learning about feminism, by learning about womenism, it allowed me to understand that the ideas of equity and the ideas and importance of centering the discourse of women and its importance in, and what type of message we're sending out to our city. And I think it's long overdue. I think I was pretty shocked when when the report was out and said that we could be the first city in the county to have a women's commission out of all the cities in San Mateo County, because that's really important. Thinking about Daly City as a very diverse community, an immigrant community, and our issues, especially for women of color, immigrant women, there are specific issues that are very, very curtailed or very, very centered to only Daly City. All right, so I think that's very, very important in terms of advocating for women's issue. Knowing that we're on the dawn of a new administration that has promoted very anti-women rhetoric, I think it's timely that we have something like this, so that when we are talking about what's going on at the federal level and how it affects us in the local level, that we have a specialized local group, a leadership group of women that can actually voice something, to put out a statement, to put out something that can be pointed wrong, right? Because things in society, we can't change society unless we problematize an issue. Or if we don't, we just kind of either throw it under the rug or it just goes over our head. And so I think this is why the Women's Commission is important. It provides a platform for political engagement. And sometimes maybe one of the arguments would be like, whoa, that's just way too many commissions on the city council. But that's the whole idea of why we create these commissions, so we can have civic engagement. We have so much apathy out there of people not wanting to be part of politics, and here we are having the opportunity to provide a platform for people to join and talk about specific issues that affect them, so that they see themselves in politics. If they see themselves in power, then they're going to become part of the power to change our society. And so this is super important, and I think we're planting the seeds for leadership so we can flourish and grow. I think one of the arguments is like, can men be part of this? And I think we can. There's a form of allyship that we have. understanding of gender fluidity as well. This is just an important, and I think it's a no-brainer to me of why we should have a women's commission. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor, for your comments. Thank you for your allyship, and thank you for, really being a strong advocate for this, even when this was trying to be agendized back in February. And so I want to thank you for that, and seeing how important this type of commission is, even before what's happening federally, right? And so I just want to acknowledge that and your solidarity.
Of course. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember DiGiovanni.
Yeah, thank you. Let me begin by saying the following for clarification is not because I am against the Women's Commission. Obviously, people know that I'm a member of National Council of Jewish Women. SF-CAT, which works on anti-human trafficking, which is the first which you actually work with the federal, the Homeland Security. I also was as I spoke the last time, the person who brought for David Canepa. He was the mayor then. I'm the one that did the document for the Cities for CEDAW, and I was the UN representative for the Cities for CEDAW. And at the time, it was a resolution, but it didn't have the money implications, and I don't think that Natalie Sukar was the HR director at the time, and I know that we have other leadership, so the money wasn't allocated, because that particular document was to do analysis of our own just city government itself to see where we're at in statuses to elimination, discrimination of women and children. That's the purpose of the UN. So my question on that particular document is to make sure that that UN CEDAW document stands alone, and that I want to know if that analysis will finally be looked into, because I know it costs the city money, but it is important that it's been on the record since 2014, I believe, and has never been as a follow-through on an analysis as we were hoping it would in the beginning under different leadership. And I know that we have a different type of leadership that is more supportive of these type of issues. So, so that's my first question. And that to make sure that the document stands alone, because it is a UN resolution that is a Cities for CEDAW document, and that stays alone, and that hopefully we can do the analysis at our city.
The resolution number 1576,
Yes.
which is regarding the United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, does not make mention of an analysis that was to be conducted.
So I know it doesn't make analysis, but when you look at the document, it was what it was accepted at the time. And under the UN, because I was a representative for them, CEDAW, that's what it is. And it's supposed to be a standalone document. That's the first thing. Second thing is, I do see here and appreciate the mayor for sharing with the ad hoc committee that she attended, which is great, the California Women's Commission, and would she please, which I'm just doing it out of interest, not out of anything else, I'm sure all of us would. It says that she shared the findings of her conference with the ad hoc committee, but I didn't see the findings, and if she would, I'm not against anything, it just would be interested in updated findings, because she's the one that attended the first one, or a recent conference, which I appreciate. And by the next time we meet for the second in January, that would be really appreciative, because I'm sure there's new data that she can provide for us, because she was at the most recent conference. And then I just want to make clear that condolences to Councilmember Perano for that's really very hard. But I do know that because I got several calls today, I want to make clear domestic violence is not just a woman's violence, even though it seems like it's primary. It's a non-gender issue. It happens in our LGBTQ community, as Cora has stated, and I want to make sure that no one is left out, even though we are going to be creating a women's commission. That is something that I work on at anti-human trafficking. I work on with all those issues together, National Council of Jewish Women, to make sure that these equality, that we are city government, so we are for everyone. You know, it doesn't matter where you are. And I have a suggestion for the language when it identifies, I like where it says including the third world women, lesbian women, teenage and elderly women, and single parents. Perhaps maybe if my council would agree, and those who identify as women, since there seems to be a lot of hatred out there, that we can just close the door on some of the hatred. And I appreciate all the work that's gone into this. And I think, let me see what the other question I have. And then I do appreciate that it was estimated that 5 hours is for staff time. And then I don't know the estimated cost for that. But I mean, I know that it has to be something which, you know, given it's a commission, we just have to realize that it's a cost that we have to absorb. But everything is a cost to our city, and fiscal responsibility is very important, even though I know that the mayor and the ad hoc committee put a lot of work into this as well. And let's see what else. And where it says the coordination of the Women's History Month, I just want to make sure that I know that we're not taking it over by the Women's Commission, which I think coordination of Women's History Month. That was originally done, I think, with Leslie DuBridge and our recreation, if I remember correctly. And that has a great deeper history, I believe, with her mother. And, or not our mother, but it was a great part of the history in our city. So we want to make sure that we make sure that we just don't go and because I know that recreation always was a part of it, and that Leslie DuBridge was one of the key people for our Women's History Month, that we just be cognizant of that. And then I know we're having a second reading, but I appreciate that you guys gave a lot of the details and that you defined a lot for each commissioner, and like on the issues. But as a city government, again, I want to make people know that, you know, any of these issues, trafficking or domestic issues, is also included in our LGBTQ and men and anyone in this city, because we are a city that's supposed to represent everyone here. So I don't want to confuse that, although I understand where the mayor's concerns are coming from. And when we talk about equality, I think that self-reflection of each person, including myself or whatever, are we as role models, are we giving equality to one another on this council? Are we really doing the equality thing when we make decisions on to one another? And then maybe there is also, I think that through CDAW, we also have, I think we still have training, or NCJW, for those kind of things, to make sure that we're cognizant that as one another, to be respectful and be equal to one another. I think that's really important, and not have a history of being unequal or treatment of not equal, especially if you're a senior woman, which I'm a senior woman. Yes, I am. I'm mid my age, but or anything like that classification or otherwise. So that's all I have for now. And I think that if there's anything else, I guess I can bring it up at the second reading as well, because we are having a second reading. But I think that you guys did, and I appreciate the going back and giving more details. I think that's really important. So that's all I have right now. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments, Councilmember DiGiovanni.
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to be very clear to those that are watching, and this Women's Commission is obviously to center women, those that may identify as women, but this Women's Commission is not at all to exclude others. And I know that's being brought up on the dais today. And I want to be very clear that this is around ensuring that there's voices at the table, and for commentary to say that this is the opposite of what we're trying to do. I'm being very clear to those watching that this is something that is positive. This is something that is much needed and long overdue, and that inclusivity is part of the Daly City DNA. it is, if we look around in our beautiful city, it is so diverse. And I think it's one of the amazing assets that we have, from all the way from the Bayshore all the way to Gellert, from all the every. I mean, this is something that we actually have that brings beauty to our community. And so I just want to ensure those that are watching, this is a positive step forward. This is something that we want for our community, and not something that I will say, you know, what I'm hearing or is trying to say that we would try to exclude anyone. We would never try to do that. And that's why we're building these infrastructures so that there's voices in our community that have opportunities, that may not have the opportunity to voice their needs or even have an avenue to bring forth ideas. And so I just want to reiterate that to those that are watching and those who are in the audience.
Through the chair, I just want to make one comment. I never meant anything, and please don't twist my words, because I think it's very clear. I just want to make sure that because we're a government, I just want to make it clear, because we are all about everybody. I'm not saying you're not, or anyone on this panel is not, but I wanted to make clear on that, and that there has been, we need to make sure that even amongst ourselves, there is inclusion. That's all. So please don't. That I'd like to speak for myself. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Sylvester.
Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity to
Welcome.
speak. There's a saying, criticize in private, praise in public. And, you know, that's what I try to do and live my life. Of course, there are different narratives out there, and I could debate all night regarding what they're doing on the federal level, or the term anti-woman rhetoric, where I see that there have been changes to which women are being recognized. So, but that's for a future debate if needed, the changes. But what I am going to make mention is, first of all, and what I learned this evening, we would be the only city in San Mateo to recognize a commission such as this. To move forward and to put restrictions on what this committee will do, I mean, it's nice to have a template or something to work with. And I ask questions, as I should, prior. And I have to commend staff for providing answers to every one of my questions that I had. And not only were those questions answered, but I also learned additional information pertaining to the issues that women are facing by reading the staff report. And that's what it took for me to understand. With regards to intimate issues, that happens to all, regardless of gender, but I think having a women's commission can address those issues to which it's not going to be swept under the rug anymore. Moving forward, I think this Women Commission will provide awareness. They say you can't teach a dog new tricks. You could teach me some new tricks. I'm open. And the staff report was outstanding. All my questions were answered. I believe the whole idea is for women to have a voice. I'm a firm believer in equity, and everybody should be treated the same. So with that being said, thank you, staff, for your very succinct report. It obviously shows the research that went into it. And I had no idea that Daly City consisted of, was it 50.2% females? Mm-hmm. Wow. And I think it's about time. So thank you to the ad hoc committee on such a short notice and time frame to work on this. Obviously, I can see the passion that went into this. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Sylvester. If there's no other comments at this time, I will motion to open public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second, so moved.
Thank you very much. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. We have one speaker card. We have Commissioner Ray Satori.
I have a small note here, Madam Mayor, so in case I overshoot the time, please just bear with me. Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of the Honorable Council. My intellectual curiosity draws my attention in supporting Jocelyn Manalo's sponsorship of the creation of the Commission on Women in Daly City. And it could be a landmark piece of legislation as an ordinance for the welfare and benefit and interests of women, children in Daly City. My manifestation, Your Honor, is that I would like to emphasize 4 areas of urgency in the creation of the Commission on Women. To it, number 1 is violence against women, domestic abuse and trafficking of women, especially the survivors and victims of domestic violence, face isolation and fear. Your Honor, very recently, there was a young lady, a young wife, who was shot in Westlake. It was sad because, according to the mother, this was an ongoing problem between the 2 kids. There were 2 kids also. When it happened, they shot the lady in I think near in PBRC. So when a woman has been killed and the man is jailed, there is a dysfunctional family that will happen. All the families will be affected. Continue to, Your Honor, as a responsible civic leader, we know that acknowledgement and support is pivotal in the healing process, reinforcing the message that help is available. The Commission on Women should be empowered to intervene, prevent violence before it escalates, and to heal. The Commission on Women can be a beacon of hope, a call to action that collectively we can work toward a better society where everyone can live free from abuse and human trafficking. We can do this through sounding board, fostering dialogue, awareness, and community engagement. Number 2, being productive while taking care of their children while at home. Training programs should be done through dovetail with the programs of Small Business Administration and the Cultural Arts Commission, probably through Zooming. I consider these 2 commission as a moribund so they can help the creation of Commission on Women. Number 3, which is very important, can happen, it's happening. Discrimination and bias in digital technology. Against this backdrop, women and girls now face a new source of bias and discrimination, the digital technology. Rather than presenting facts and addressing bias, technology based on incomplete data and badly designed algorithms is digitizing and amplifying sexism with deadly consequences. The gender-digital divide is just becoming the new face of gender inequality. Rather than uplifting women and girls, technology is often used to harm and control them through surveillance and trafficking. Gender-based violence online lately has increased exponentially. Number four, we can avail, if the creation of this will happen, Your Honor, we can avail of grants from the United Nations. You have somebody mentioned CEDAW, which is discrimination against women, and then you have the so-called INSTRO, International Research and Training Institute for the Advancement of Women, OSAGI, which is a special advisor on gender issues and advancement of women. And then eventually, under the declaration of Beijing and platform of action, which they have to submit this report all in 2030 through the special rapporteur of the Secretariat of the Commission on the Status. I cannot give the details because I don't have the time. And lastly, Your Honor, I would like to implore the City Council to be serious on these women, children issues concern. This is very important now, the changing world, especially technology. Please appoint commissioners on women, people of proven probity, knowledge of women's welfare, those with a background of law enforcement, psychologists, economic management, and social workers. This I ask of you. And lastly, Your Honor, I would like to just briefly, when it comes to advancement of women, I think Daly City is one of those places that's really advanced, considering that I think 56% are women. Look at this council. Three of them are the majority. And most of the department heads are women. So at least all we can say is we can concentrate on the mandate of, especially on domestic affairs. Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Reza Torre, for your public comment. Are there any other public comments on this item? Seeing none, motion to close public hearing?
Motion?
I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you for the commentary and public comment. I think, as Vice Mayor mentioned earlier today, that it's important to have allies, like you, Planning Commissioner Reza Torre, as you came up today and speak. Because as we build this Women's Commission, it's not only women, but we need allies from men to support the work and to be able to, I think you mentioned, really understand what equity is and where we need to be as those that have daughters or those that have sisters. I think that we see the allyship here. And I did mention that here in our beautiful city, that we are so diverse and that it is long overdue that we have this platform. And like many of my colleagues here, it's very surprising that we will be the first in the county as a city to have a women's commission. I mean, this is, I think we've said it, we're going to have the opportunity to appoint voices in our community. And when we see the staff presentation around issues that women face, whether it is really combating intimate violence abuse, whether it is really looking at the economic divide and where there needs to be parity in the workforce for women, or it's an opportunity to also build the next generation towards science and technology and making sure that that gap is also closed in. I think there's so many opportunities where we hear from our community at hand, where there's so many intersectionalities that women face as working mothers, as women in the diverse communities that Daly City holds. But like I said, this is the first step in being able to hear directly from women in our community. And I want to also just share that there was no intent at all to take away from the programming of the recreation. You know, this is always ways to collaborate, ways to bring forth more support, or as we say, more helping hands towards ensuring that we're all, working together. And so I do want to say thank you to Leslie, who I know has done the work over the years. But even last year or this year, there was no programming that was going to happen. And so we needed to step in, and I want to thank the staff to do something to honor our women in our community, right? And so needless to say, it's not about either or, it's about collaboration and about uplifting our community and hearing from the women and really being able to have that self-determination for the women in our community. I'm really excited to see where we've come to this place. I'm looking at my colleagues because I hear that Councilmember Sylvester understands the passion and why this was brought forth even in February. And we're here now in December. But this just shows, the process that we do go through. And at that time, we did not have Councilmember Perano, who Councilmember Perano elect is here with us now, right? And so as we move towards progressing our city, this is having this commission is a step toward that, and honestly long overdue. And so with that, at this time, for item number 10, I'm happy to motion for the city attorney to read by title only. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you very much. City attorney, may you read by title only, please?
Can we just have a roll call on the motion?
Sure.
Not a roll call, I'm sorry, voice vote.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank you, Madam Mayor. This is an ordinance in the City of Daly City adding Chapter 2.60, Title II of the Daly City Municipal Code regarding the Women's Commission, and we will entertain an introduction of the ordinance.
Madam City Attorney, I'm happy to introduce the ordinance. Thank you. You don't need a motion on that? Okay, thank you very much. I want to say thank you to my colleagues, to all 5 of my colleagues here today. We definitely have created an ordinance to bring forth a Women's Commission. I look forward to seeing all of your appointments as we move forward towards progress in our city. So thank you very much. Thank you to the staff. Thank you, Leilani. Thank you to you, Natalie, and also to our city manager for your support.
Through the chair.
Please.
Particularly proud moment. Proud of staff and the work, but I'm proud of the council too. So to be the first in the county is really special. So thank you.
Thank you. Like my children say, and I'll say this, teamwork makes the dream work. So thank you. Moving on to item number 11, award of a construction contract for the Daly City Dolger Art Center roofing and HVAC replacement project.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. I'd like to introduce Alec Yuen, who will do the presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. Staff recommends that the City Council approve the design documents for the Daly City Dolger Arts Center roofing and HVAC replacement project, affirm the CEQA determination of categorical exemption, accept all responsive bids, and award a construction contract to Zone 4 Construction of San Carlos, California, in the amount of $780,409. And finally, authorize the city manager or his designee to execute all necessary contracts to complete the project. The Daly City Dolger Art Center roofing and HVAC replacement project consists of replacing the existing HVAC and roof at the Dolger Art Center. The scope of work specifically for the HVAC includes the replacement of existing furnaces and flues, installation of new registers, and removal of obsolete mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. The scope of work for the roof includes the preparation of the existing built-up roof, installation of new spray polyurethane foam on the roof, modification of the perimeter curb for new roof drain scuppers, addition of new overflow scuppers, and the replacement of the existing coppings. On November 22nd, 2021, the City Council approved the use of ARPA funds for the HVAC system and associated improvements at Dolger Art Center. On May 8th, 2023, the City Council authorized the city manager to execute a professional services agreement with Interactive Resources of Richmond, California, for design services associated with the project, which includes preparation of the construction bid documents and support during bidding and construction. The project's notice of inviting bids was first advertised on October 20th, 2024. On October 29th, 2024, 17 contractors attended the mandatory pre-bid meeting at the Dolger Art Center. And then on November 12th, 2024, the city received 4 bids ranging from a low of $780,409 to a high of $1,655,000. Determination of the lowest responsive bidder was based on the lowest combined total of the base bid and bid alternate 1. Zone 4 Construction of San Carlos, California has been in business since 2001. The bidder holds the required Class B contractor's license. The contractor's reference for work performed for the city of Redwood City, Palo Alto Unified School District, and Peninsula Healthcare District are all acceptable. If the overall project is awarded as recommended, construction is anticipated to commence in January of 2025 and be completed by the end of 2025. The total estimated construction cost for the project is $975,511.25. This includes the $780,409 of construction contract and an additional $195,102.25 of construction contingency, inspection, contract administration, and staff time. Sufficient funds are available in General CIP Fund Account Project 313133931. At this time, staff recommends that the City Council approve the design documents for the Daly City Dolger Art Center roofing and HVAC replacement project, affirm the CEQA determination of categorical exemption, accept all responsive bids, and award a construction contract to Zone 4 Construction of San Carlos, California, in the amount of $780,409. And finally, authorize the city manager to, or his designee to execute all necessary contracts to complete the project. Staff is available to answer any questions or additional information.
Thank you very much for your presentation on this item. I do have one question. It looks like Zone 4 Construction, Inc. Was the only one that said there was a responsive bid. So when 2, 3, and 4 is mentioned, non-responsive, can you explain that?
So when a contractor is considered a when we consider a non-responsive bid for a contractor, it is due to any missing documents in the actual bid itself. So there were specific forms that were requested as part of the bid package. And in this case, the other contractors did not have all those documents.
Thank you very much. So basically, they did apply, but then during the process, you asked for whatever documents, and then they didn't respond after. Okay, thank you very much. Are there questions from my colleagues? Councilmember Sylvester.
Thank you, Mayor. Actually, Mayor, you brought up the question that I was going to bring up, so that explains it. In regards to the 2, 3, and 4, were they given the opportunity to provide the documents needed?
As part of the bidding process, there are specific forms that are noted to be submitted as part of the bid itself. So if not submitted by the time of bid, then they wouldn't be able to resubmit after. There are specific documents that would allow 1 day after. However, if not submitted by that time, which is 1 day after, then they wouldn't be able to resubmit after that.
All right, and looking at your chart here, Zone 4 Construction Incorporated versus Giant Construction Incorporated, I see a difference of approximately double the amount. Are we missing something? Because I see your engineer's estimate is 997,000, yet Zone 4 comes under that. I'm just wondering, are we missing something that we could have gleaned from Giant Construction Incorporated?
I would say that's dependent on contractor. So all the bid documents have been presented to the contractors. Everyone has a fair and equal bid or fair chance to bid for the project, and each contractor can submit as they desire when it comes to the bid itself.
Okay. Is Zone 4 Construction MBE? Or has a request gone out to MBEs or women-owned businesses?
So Zone 4 is not an MBE. However, I do recall that one of the subcontractors that Zone 4 has is a minority business in San Francisco. I believe it's TNT Electric.
Okay, so basically it's a company and they have different aspects because it says Zone 4 Construction. So I guess they have different, how you say, silos within that company, and one of them is MBE.
They have different subcontractors.
Subcontractors,
Yes,
okay.
correct. And so they have subcontractors that also participate in the project. And as Alex mentioned, there is one of their subcontractors that is a minority owned. And with that being said, Councilmember Sylvester, every time we advertise projects, we do advertise it out to folks that are minority owned so that they're aware of the project, making sure that they have an opportunity to submit bids or submit as a subcontractor.
I appreciate that, Director True. I think in the future, you're probably going to get that question, so maybe in the staff report, when we say we put it out, and we also put it out to MBEs as well, and this is what we got. So I thank you very much. Other than that, Madam Mayor, that's all I have at this time.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, motion to approve item number 11, award and construction contract for Dolger Art Center roofing and HVAC replacement project. Do I have a second?
Second?
That was a good second. And may we have roll call, please? Madam City Clerk.
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Aye.
Dr. Rod,
Aye.
Ms. Perano,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Ms. Manalo.
Aye. Thank you very much. Thank you. Seeing item number 12, and you all will be presenting this also, award construction contract for the Ceremony Library, elevator, energy efficiency, ADA upgrades, HVAC, and roof replacement project.
Thank you, Mayor. So once again, good evening. Staff recommends that the City Council approve the design documents for the Ceremony Library, elevator, energy efficiency, ADA upgrades, HVAC, and roof replacement project, affirm the CEQA determination of categorical exemption, accept all responsive bids, and award a construction contract to Beam Construction of San Francisco, California, in the amount of $2,119,000, and authorize the city manager or his designee to execute all necessary contracts to complete the project. The Ceremony Library project is a combination of 4 separate capital improvement projects planned at Ceremony Library. On May 23rd, 2022, the City Council accepted and appropriated the California State Library grant of $2 million for projects proposed at Ceremony Library and Bayshore Library. Of the $2 million, $1.8 million was allocated for the Ceremony Library project. The project proposes to install an elevator to allow for ADA access to the first floor, upgrade obsolete and inefficient lighting throughout the first and second floors, remodel the first floor restrooms to further remove accessibility barriers on the first floor, and replace the HVAC units as well as the built-up roof. On May 22nd, 2023, the City Council authorized a professional services agreement with Interactive Resources for design services of the Ceremony Library project. This included the preparation of the construction bid documents and support during bidding and construction. On October 28th, 2024, the City Council rejected all bids received on the October 8th, 2024 bid opening for the Ceremony Library project due to different interpretations of the bid instructions, resulting in inconsistent bids. City staff and the designer revised the bid documents to clarify the bid instructions and re-advertised the project's notice of inviting bids on November 3rd, 2024. On November 12th, 2024, 14 contractors attended the mandatory pre-bid meeting at Ceremony Library. On November 25th, 2024, 8 bids were received by the city, with total bids ranging from a low of $2,119,000 to a high of $2,593,983.08. Determination of the lowest responsive bidder was based on the lowest combined total of the base bid, add alternate 1, add alternate 2, and add alternate 3. Beam Construction of San Francisco, California has been in business since 2021. This bidder holds the required Class B contractor's license, which is in good standing and current. The contractor's reference for work performed for the for the San Rafael City Elementary School District, San Mateo Foster City School District, City of Healdsburg, and the City of Pacifica are all acceptable. If the overall project is awarded as recommended, construction is anticipated to commence in January of 2025 and be completed by the end of 2025 as well, very similar to the Dolger project. The total estimated construction cost for the subject project is $2,754,700. This includes the $2,119,000 construction contract and an additional $635,700 for contingencies, inspection, contract administration, and staff time. Sufficient funds are available in general CIP fund account project numbers 31313-910, 31313-911, 31313-912, and 31313-653. These are the 4 projects that consist of the Ceremony project. Excess funds in these project accounts shall be used to amend the professional services agreement with Swinnerton Builders DBA Swinnerton Management and Consulting Incorporated for project management and construction support services of this project and other various CIP projects.
I like them.
At this time, staff recommends that the City Council approve the design documents for the Ceremony Library, elevator, energy efficiency, ADA upgrades, HVAC, and roof replacement project, affirm the CEQA determination of categorical exemption, accept all responsive bids, and award a construction contract to Beam Construction of San Francisco, California, in the amount of $2,119,000, and authorize the city manager or its designee to execute all necessary contracts to complete the project. Staff is available to provide any additional information desired by the mayor and city council members.
Thank you so much for your presentation on this. One question I have is, when was the last time this roof has been replaced?
Yeah, this item, based on our facilities assessment report, it's reached towards the end of its useful life. At the same time, though, because we're working on the HVAC unit, it makes sense to redo the roof underneath it so that you don't have to come back and revisit it or deal with any issues. And so that's why there's a combination of the HVAC as well as the built-up roof section that's below the HVAC units themselves.
I would also like to add that it's only a portion of the roof that's getting replaced. And as Director Chu had mentioned, it is the portion where the HVAC units are located. The rest of the roof is a standing seam roof, which is currently in, I believe, in good condition. So it's only a specific portion where there are current issues.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Any questions from my colleagues? Councilmember DiGiovanni?
Yeah, just a quick comment. Anytime I see Swinnerton, I know they're signatory. And so that means that obviously is it Swinnerton that's overseeing the whole project? And then they're choosing the, what's the name again? The Beam? The other one. Yeah, the other contractor. So then the BEAM construction, then they're also signatory as well.
To respond to that, Councilmember DiGiovanni, Swinnerton is actually our project manager for the
Right, that's what I
project.
mean. So they usually only choose signatory, correct? Swinnerton.
Just to be clear, Councilmember DiGiovanni, the public bid process requires us as government agencies to go with the lowest responsible bid. In this particular situation, it is Beam Construction Enterprises. To my knowledge, they are not a union contractor. However, they are required to pay prevailing wage. I think there's at least one of their subcontractors that I believe is a union contractor.
So they're not union, non-union, but they have to pay the prevailing wage?
Yes, that's correct.
Because I know Swinnerton themselves are usually the signatory, but they're doing the management part, correct?
That is correct. We, the city, have a separate contract with Swinnerton.
Got it.
For construction support services.
Got it.
And then we're now proposing to do a separate contract with Beam for the construction portion of the project.
Thank you, but prevailing wages and.
That's correct, that's correct. That is
So
standard for
as we
all of
move
our-
forward, until we are able to finally get our ordinance together. Thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much for those questions and clarification. Councilmember Sylvester?
Thank you. MBE?
So in this case, there is no NBE for Beam Construction specifically.
Yeah, and again, Councilmember Sylvester, similar to the previous project, as during the advertisement process, we do reach out, make sure they're aware of the upcoming project, and then they have an opportunity, they being disadvantaged businesses, minority-owned, have an opportunity to bid the project. We also try to encourage local contractors, and so there are a lot of subcontractors that are San Francisco area, Pacifica area, South San Francisco. So I guess it is reaching some of the intended targets of, smaller local type contractors.
I was looking at that item number 11, Zone 4 Construction, won that one. And I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but you think we could have, you think they would have come down in price by $167,227 so that they can also get this bid? Has anybody asked them?
So that's actually something we cannot ask per public contract code.
Okay, all right.
We have to go with the lowest bid
Okay.
when the bids are opened. So it's for a fair and equal bidding process.
Good answer. But if you don't ask, you don't get, but I do get it. You have to follow protocol. And, you know, I'm just thinking, you know, if I owned the company, if I had a chance to get both projects, I'm going to give you a good price, but it has to be competitive and take the lowest bid. And especially since you said Zone 4 do have a subcontractor that is MBE. I think it would have been a good thing, but just my comments. That's all I have. Oh, and this is pretty good estimates. It looks like these companies were in line with each other, 167,227 between 1 and 3, and yet the difference between 1 and 2 is only 101,000 even. So I think there's pretty good bidding process, because in the previous item, I did see where item number, contractor number 4 was almost twice as much, and that raised a red flag to me. So just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Absolutely correct, Councilmember Sylvester. We were very surprised to see number 1 and number 2 being that close. I mean, they're actually $1,000 apart,
Right.
which is very unusual in that case. So,
Thank you.
very close. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. No other questions from my colleagues? Okay, do we have a motion to approve construction contract for the Ceremony Library?
Motion to approve?
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. May we have roll call, please?
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Aye.
Dr. Rod,
Aye.
Ms. Perano,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester,
Glenn Sylvester, aye.
Ms. Manalo.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, the staff. Thank you. Moving on to item number 13, second reading ordinance number 1478, repealing and replacing Chapter 3.12 of the Daly City Municipal Code regarding purchasing. And we have Rose Zimmerman, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council. This item came before the City Council at its last regularly scheduled City Council meeting for an introduction. This is the second reading of the ordinance of the City Council of the City of Daly City repealing and replacing Chapter 3.12 of the Daly City Municipal Code regarding its purchasing ordinance, and it is for adoption.
Okay, motion to adopt item number 13. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. May we have roll call, please?
Ms. DiGiovanni,
Aye.
Dr. Rod,
Aye.
Ms. Perano,
Aye.
Mr. Sylvester.
I would like a change in the language here, because I didn't see anything that says, in all cases, we should consider MBE requirements at least as part of the purchasing, or at least put it out there. But I think you've covered everything else. So just a thought, I'll be bringing it up in further purchasing, and my response would be Glenn Sylvester, aye. Thank you.
Ms. Manalo.
Aye. Thank you very much. Thank you. Moving on to appointments of board and commissions. Do we have any appointments from my colleagues? Okay, seeing none, moving on to council committee reports. We did have a council committee with Councilmember Teresa Praano and I for the Women's Commission. And really, thank you for everyone, all the hard work on that, which we approved today. And so you heard our report earlier. So now we have a commission to make sure that issues from our community are in the forefront. Any other council committee reports?
Met through the chair?
Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I attended my SFO Community Roundtable meeting. One of the key things that they were bringing up is that they're even looking at Oyster Point. There's a new, it's called a vertical lift that is now going to be transporting people to Livermore, not just carrying packages. It's going to be starting out as one passenger, could be up, it's moving pretty quickly. So we are working with the FAA directly to try to minimize a lot of things that have been expressed of concern of where all these agents, where these areas are going to be. They're starting in the area of Oyster Point, but they're, when you see the dots of where they want to be over in Oakland and other places, and then even they want to do eventually in the future auto without any pilot at all. So things are moving pretty quickly. I want people to know that, and that these will be transporting people as well. So the skies are pretty going to be traffic jammed, and the elevation and the takeoffs and the landings that are SFO roundtable. So a lot is going on. Our first letter that went last year that we did legislation, I'm on the legislative committee. It was approved actually in Congress for a lot of the things that were being supported originally by Congresswoman Jackie Spear before she retired. And then we took over 8 pieces of her legislation to move it forward again. This is the first time that a roundtable has actually had interaction and actually movement with the FAA, proud to say, in the country. So from the beginning, when they first started SFO Roundtable up until now, they said that we have done the remarkable movement with all the representatives from each city, from San Francisco, from the county, and from the airport. So we want to make sure that people know we're on top of things. But this new technology is, as you can imagine, the MOU is already starting for the company that's putting this forth. But Mark Nagalis and some other people from South City will be able to analyze it because it's going to affect South City first as well. It's going to be going there first to be approved. And then it has to come back to us as well, the airport land use. So we'll keep everybody abreast, but it's amazing what is going straight up vertically. And then also, as we know, we have drones that our police department use. So these also affect a lot of different things. So a lot of moving part, a lot of experts we're lucky to have on our roundtable. And it's a lot of technology, technical terms that we're learning, and it's very interesting and moving fast. So stay tuned for more legislation. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Manamer.
Thank you very much. Any other council member? Sylvester.
Thank you, Mayor. This is just a follow-up. We did not have a meeting. However, I did bring this matter up before at our council. Department of Emergency Management. We are part of that JPA, and as such, having a new director, the director went through the previous agreement, which each city has to approve, and off the top of my head, I think it's been about 13 years since that JPA needed to be revisited. So anyway, a new JPA memorandum of understanding had been produced, and a few months ago, it came out to all the cities, and they left out one important part. And I'm talking about stakeholders. When I say Department of Emergency Management through San Mateo, if something happens in a particular city, who was the first who would know best about that particular city? Police and fire. And we created a JPA that did not include them. So that matter was brought to the director's attention, and the director had to contact every agency within San Mateo County to have feedback as to, this is the new JPA, what do you think? the old JPA indicated that in cases of an emergency, the JPA will make and have requirements so that when they go into a city, we shall abide by those requirements. No. What happens is the requirements that they set out when they come into a particular city, there is no answer and be all answer because every city is different. Police and fire will look at the requirements and make changes based on the needs of your particular city. So that JPA is coming. I believe it's going to come before council, and the city manager will be bringing it before us for us to remain part of the JPA. That's the only language that was changed. In other words, they come into the particular city, you consult with police and fire and your first responders, and whatever requirements that we have shall apply. The Department of Emergency Management will not make all the decisions. So I thought I'd bring that up, and I'm looking forward to the new changes and sharing with the council. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your report. Any other city council reports? Moving on, council committee reports. Moving on to city council reports. For city council reports, I wanted to say I hope everyone had a wonderful Give Thanks holiday. We had our annual commissioners dinner to say thank you to our commissioners, and it was really a wonderful time at Westlake Joe's. And also, the Age-Friendly Task Force met through hybrid for their quarterly meeting. I also joined the Pink Ribbon Good breakfast to honor cancer survivors. Pink Ribbon Good is a nonprofit supporting women and families, those women that have breast and gynecological cancer. But really, their mission is to support the whole family. Going through cancer treatment is very difficult. And sometimes, even having meals for the children, that's to the extent that they help. Also, to the extent of giving rides to the individual. And so I just wanted to share that Pink Ribbon Good has now expanded into the peninsula area. And then attended the Daly City Coma Chamber of Commerce for their annual Cypress Business Awards. I know that Councilmember Prano was there as well, but it is wonderful to see the businesses that have been honored. And also, community service, we had our own recreation director, Denise Brown. That was honored on for Daly City. So, also joined the Bayshore Friendship Club for their holiday luncheon. I stopped by to say happy holidays to them. And then I was there to witness the community swearing in of Assemblywoman Catherine Stephanie. It was wonderful to see her children speak. Also, there was our Controller Malia Cohen, Senator Scott Wiener, Assemblymember Matt Haney, and former Congresswoman Jackie Spear, who swore her in. Also, look forward to working with our newly elected Assemblywoman Catherine Stephanie. At this point, I also want to acknowledge and say thank you to our Phil Ting for the 12 years of service he had given. We are grateful for all that he has done for the city of Daly City, as well as Assembly District. Also wanted to share that I want to thank my vice mayor. While I was at the community swearing in, you were here with the employee toy drive to light up the Christmas trees. I heard it was a success. It's so wonderful to see our employees give back, especially towards this time in our community.
It was great.
So
It was great.
I wish I could be in two places at once, but I could not. So I thank you so much. Also joined the Edu Cine, which was at the Philippine consulate. It is a USA launching of a film, some of the film making that they are doing in the cinematic world. And so they had a screening there, but was able to meet one of the international filmmakers. Also, that same evening, Nurse Unseen was being shown in the marina, and currently now is being the executive producer Jo Koy has now joined this producing this documentary. And so we will be showing this film documentary at Century 20 in Daly City on December 11. And then also last Friday, Mabel Manio from ECD joined me at the 2024 California Japan Sister Cities Fall Reception at the Consul General's residence. It was an honor to give the toast towards good relations, fortune with our sister cities, as celebrating Izumazano as our 110th sister city with Japan. Also joined the Simbang Gabi commissioning mass at St. Augustine, which I did, was also with Councilmember Praño, but it was really as well as Planning Commissioner Cheryl Qatar. But it was beautiful to be in community around the Christmas season. Also, Frosty Snowfest in collaboration with Ceremony and the Recreation Department was really wonderful. You felt the snow, even though we don't get snow in Daly City. And so there was amazing snow coming from the parking lot. It seemed like the sky, as well as an area within the parking garage for actually real snow and ice. So there was little moments for a snowball throwing here and there. Safety though. Thank you, Marie, Denise, and then also 96.5. Fresca was also there. And then also joined the Kababayan Learning community with our Vice Mayor Das Magbuwal. For 25 years at Skyline, 25 years at Skyline, 25 years or 20? 20 years at Skyline.
Oh, I am.
20 years is so fast.
Yeah.
But it was really wonderful to see many of the students that were impacted by the program over the course of 20 years. Congratulations, Kababayan Learning, for 20 years of service. Also, the WSPA Nutcracker Show.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, with AIM Bay Area and WSPA. It was really amazing. I want to say congratulations to your daughter, Amayanan, our Vice Mayor's daughter. I also want to highlight my niece.
Yeah.
It was her first solo experience. So Helena, wonderful job, well done. And also to all of the children, the youth, the families, and the supportive parents, as well as the world-class teachers. I mean, they put on an amazing show every single time, And at the last show, me and Vice Mayor got to do a cameo
Oh, yeah.
at the party. Party scene, yeah. Also, tomorrow, really looking forward to Operation Santa Claus. This is probably my 8th year doing it, but this is a huge milestone for our community. 75 years.
Yes.
75 years of really putting smiles to families and children. And so tomorrow is going to be the day in distributing the gifts to all of the children.
Yeah.
I want to say to those that are watching, Daly City Hall and facilities are closed December 23rd
Yeah.
to January 5th. So please keep in mind. Happy holidays. Also, street sweeping. I know I get this question a lot, so I think I need to announce this. Street sweeping is suspended December 23rd, 24 to January 5th, 25. So just wanted to share that. And then you want to look at your 2024 holiday collection schedule, which is on our Daily Wire, because I won't read all of that, but just to make sure that you're up to date with the garbage collection.
Oh, yeah.
And then also, for those of you at our Cow Palace, there's so many milestones. It's amazing. It's the 40th
Yep.
the Great Dickens Christmas Fair.
Yep.
40 years right here at our Cow Palace. And so it's from November 23rd to December 22nd on the weekends only. Also, if you haven't gotten your tree yet, there's a Build a Dream holiday tree lot with our recreation services. And so right at Westlake Park, that's 111 Lake Merced Boulevard, Monday to Friday, 4 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 9 to 8 p.m., and Sundays, 9 to 6 p.m. So there are noble firs. Wait, there's still some more trees, right? There's more trees, $100, 6 to 7 feet, $120, and then if you got the bowl and sand, $10. But when you buy a tree, you're actually helping a scholarship for the youth. So please come and support. Thank you so much. And then I wanted to invite you all here at City Hall on December 11th. The Ricardo Alvarado exhibit will be coming back on its 25th anniversary back to Daly City Hall. Ricardo Alvarado was a photographer that was able to take photographs in the 1920s up to the 1970s. And so that exhibit will actually be hosted at the SFO Museum Terminal. But we are hosting a reception here, and on the exact day, December 11, 25 years ago is when it was exhibited here in City Hall. And so also on that same evening, the community film screening Nurse Unseen. I know that we're at waitlist capacity now. But it went by really fast. And so just sign up, and I think you have to be there by 6:45 or so. But we are at waitlist capacity at this time. But the producers have learned about how we were at capacity and may look at another screening here in Daly City. And then also on Thursday, December 12th, we have so much, it's so amazing. Bring on the holidays with the recreation services and in conjunction with the Daly City Public Library. Wow, it feels like old times. I'm just kidding, combination. But it is going to be at our Bayshore Community Center, where there's going to be parole workshops. So parole workshop is basically in the Filipino community, they create stars with like bamboo sticks, and the star represents light and hope. And so they're going to do also crafts and treats, story time, and a photo booth and more. No registration required. That's 5 to 8 p.m. This coming Thursday. And then on Friday, here at City Hall, who knows Raising Cane's?
Yeah.
So Raising Cane's commissioned artist Benazir Martinez, who is generously donating artwork here at City Hall. And so we will be having an unveiling of that artwork. The artwork depicting the community in Daly City, Colma. So if you can come, it will be here at City Hall. And then the pickleball tournament with Pacific Islanders together, December 14th, 9 a.m. Sign up or bring a toy for their toy drive. And then on Sunday, we will be hosting a Handog 2024, a concert for a cause at the Pacelli Gym. This is for the children affected by the typhoons in the Philippines with ABS-CBN International Foundation, and it is a benefit for those children. I believe the ticket includes food and a show. And then on Monday, December 16, we will be having a Congressional Medal unveiling ceremony, a replica of the Congressional Gold Medal for the Filipino World War II veterans on Monday, December 16 at 1 p.m. at the War Memorial. And then on that very same evening, we invite all of you to join us. And there's no council meeting after. And so please join us at our city council reorganization on Monday, December 16. That's 6 p.m. right here in the chambers. And we look forward to seeing all of you there. And that is it for the rest of my announcements. I know there was so much, but wanted to make sure everyone knew about what's upcoming around the corner, or they say around the bend. And so I'm open up to my colleagues.
Yes.
Vice Mayor.
So I had the opportunity to be one of the panelists for the Filipino Medical Society. I'm not a medical doctor, even though people call me Dr. Rod. I can prescribe ill knowledge. But the reason I was part of that panel was for this app that's developed. It's this app called Diabetes at Work, and it's founded by this amazing Pinay, Filipino American from Stanford. She's 19 years old, second year pre-med. Her name is Marjorie Luzuriaga, and she assembled a team. Like this amazing student that put together a team of research advisors, doctors, and she wants to create an app where it's diabetes intervention, but it's also people that have diabetes, where they can log on to an app, they can get free advice, free kind of face-fronting like services in terms of diet, nutrition, and the list goes on and on. And I hope to invite her maybe in the future to present this in front of us in the council. So Tom, I'll talk to you about having Marjorie come in. But she's an amazing student. She was also on the panel to talk about why it's important to talk about diabetes in the Filipino American community, but like just in general. That's what sparked her interest, was because we normalized this idea of diabetes in our communities, that she felt like it was a need to find resources for diverse communities, for BIPOC communities. And then we were also supposed to be joined by a research advisor, Dr. Dante Anthony Tolentino, and I'm part of this conversation around like, understanding diabetes and health empowerment in our community. So I was just so impressed by what Marjorie's done, and maybe we could have her come in, do a presentation for us. And then I concur for everything for the tree lighting. Try to make it quick. It's getting cold out there. The sun gets down, it gets cold real fast. And then two things, just congratulations to, again, the Kababayan Learning Community. I've been there as long as the Combined Learning Community was there. Back before I used to have all black hair 20 years ago. And I was probably the same age as some of the students that I was teaching. And it was really cool to reconnect with some of the students that I taught for the very first time at Skyline before they had all the renovations and when Skyline looked like a forest. And then also commend big shout out to WSPA and Malu, teacher Miss Tina, Jessica, all the teachers over there, all the parents especially. It takes a whole community, a whole village to prepare these students and kids to do the hair, to do the makeup, to be backstage and get a verbal lashing from their kids. And a lot of the patience that many parents have to undergo to get that production going. So big shout outs to all of them in their annual Nutcracker and seeing the principal dancers and see them grow up is pretty wild. And sometimes I wish I could press a slow down button to just, really appreciate their process of becoming an artist. Because I've seen them when they were little kids to now them doing just physical performances that are just mind-boggling to me. Well, I guess for me, because I just can't move like that, but beautiful production and everybody involved in that whole Nutcracker production. So thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Teresa?
Councilmember Prano.
Thank you. I'll make mine quick. So I wanted to say I concur on everything that the mayor spoke about, but I wanted to touch on just a couple little ones real quick. Daly City Como Chamber of Commerce, which I am a proud director on. We had my most favorite, the best 12 Days of Christmas. Tom, you missed it, ever. And some people have recorded it. So you could always check on, I know, Denise. It was great. I just want to just say that. I was so impressed. City of Daly City had the 5 golden rings, and they outdid themselves. That's all I'm going to say. I also, it was great. It was absolutely spectacular. The other thing was Sabangabi Mass at St. Augustine. It was impressive to me. I was honored to bring up the offertory wine, but the most beautiful were the stars. And I'm sorry, what was the name again on the stars? Palong? Parog. Absolutely beautiful. At each church, because it was a group effort, there were so many churches, and they all were carrying in one more beautiful than the next. And there were just so many people, and the choir and the children's choir and the different priests and things, but just so beautiful to be able to be part of that. Don't you agree? It was just beautiful. So I wanted to say that. And then the other thing I wanted to say, great job on the tree lighting, by the way.
I was going to say.
You were amazing. But what I wanted to say was yesterday, Sunday, my granddaughter, one of my grandchildren, she's 4.5. She was part of the Ballet Folclórico Alma de Mexico. And they had a presentation at South San Francisco High School. Now, we've seen a lot of the dancers come to the last few events that we had. But it was so nice because she's like that little. And you got to see the progression of all the different beautiful dresses and just the youth dancing. South San Francisco High School, actually, I thought this was pretty cool. I didn't know, actually teaches a course. And so some of these students were South San Francisco high school students. But what was most beautiful, and as you watch the progression of the different costumes and things, it brought to mind a lot of the dancing and the costumes from the Philippines and just the moves and everything. And you see how really connected we all are, right? And then I saw how they were dancing, and I thought, wow, that's kind of, if you think of the Irish dancers, or you think of, Filipino dancers and the people from all over the world, and the beauty of music and dancing that is out there, and which you also had. So I just want to just commend the students and the teachers for doing such a beautiful program. And some of those students are Daly City students. And so I just wanted to say what a joy it is to be able to attend. I mean, I wish I was, like you said, 2 people, 3 people. There's so many beautiful events in the community as well. I mean, most in Daly City. If I could go to every event, I would, I promise. But when I do have the opportunity, I'm absolutely floored by the quality and the beauty and the love that everybody puts into their projects. So thank you very much. So that's it.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember
I'll just make
Dijon.
it short rather than repeat everything. The mayor did a great job, and the vice mayor and Councilmember Perron, rather repeat all those events. But I wanted, again, we have to give our shout out to our vice mayor, because his little switch, when they did the switch he did the countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, rather than the employees having to wait out there, and they're all in their sweaters. It was really great, and for Natalie and all the ladies in the department, they always do a great job, and everything was always perfect, and they always look so festive, and you guys are always spot on every single time. And then to make sure that the vice mayor, he just did such a quick job, and he had his son and mother-in-law with him, which I thought was really sweet, and good time. And all the other events, there's a lot to count, and Denise always is everywhere. So I have to give her a lot of shout outs, but thank you very much, and happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. City manager? Oh. City manager?
Yeah, I have no report. Everything's been covered.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time, we will move into our adjourn in memory to honor those. First and foremost, we will honor Robert Bob Drucker from our city manager, Thomas J. Piccolotti.
Thank you, Mayor. An honor to adjourn in memory of Robert Kevin Drucker, born September 2nd, 1940, entered into eternal rest on Thanksgiving Day, November 28th, 2024, at the age of 84. Lived a full life. He's a beloved husband, father, grandfather, uncle, teacher, coach, mentor, and friend. Bob was a man of deep faith whose extraordinary warmth and presence touched countless people over the course of his remarkable life. He was born in San Francisco to Joseph and Olga Francesconi Drucker. Bob attended St. Anne of the Sunset in 54, St. Ignatius College Prep in 58, and after serving in the United States Army Reserve, concluded his education at the University of San Francisco. His native San Francisco upbringing was always a source of great pride, and his profound love of the city by the bay will forever be a hallmark of his lifetime. In 66, Bob married the love of his life and wife of 58 years, Kathy Griffin Drucker, whom he affectionately called Sissy. Soon thereafter, they moved to Westlake, where they raised their 4 children, Katie, Molly, Joe, and Chrissy, and became active members of Our Lady of Mercy Parish. Throughout his 55 years as a parishioner, OLM grew to be an immensely special place where he nurtured his faith and forged lifelong relationships. Bob spent his 42-year career as a U.S. history teacher, guidance counselor, basketball and golf coach at St. Ignatius, and the court is named in his honor at St. Ignatius, so it tells you a little bit about his basketball coaching. His exceptional legacy will live on through the indelible mark he leaves on the SI community. Along with his family, he would say with certainty that his time at St. Ignatius was his life's greatest gift. In his retirement, Bob spent his days enjoying some of his great loves: time with Sissy, daily mass at OLM, family dinners with his children and grandchildren, also playing 9 holes at Fleming, spending time with those he loved over a meal at Joe's. Bob's life was one of great example and meaning. He will be deeply missed. Rest in peace, Wizard of Westlake. He was preceded in death by his parents, Joseph and Olga Francesconi Drucker, his sister Norma, and survived by his wife Kathy, their 4 children, Katie and Jim, Molly and Greg, Joe and Katie, Chrissy and Tim, as well as his 12 grandchildren, Kevin, Kara, Hannah, Emma, Sarah, Ella, Danny, Jack, Will, and Madeline, also Olivia, whom he adored. In lieu of flowers, donations can be made to the St. Ignatius College Preparatory Drucker Family Scholarship Fund or Our Lady of Mercy Parish. And rest easy, Bob. Thank you.
Thank you. We also want to honor Hui Zen Kai, mother to custodian Wayne Kai. Also, Alan D. Smith, brother to collection system field supervisor Anthony Smith. May we all have a moment of silence.